Hey everybody, this is Talking of Carl back again for a comic book spoiler review. And this one's gonna be fairly quick because even though I know of the freaking story, uh I was going through this and it's I'm going through Days of Future the Uncanny X-Men Days of Future Past. It's one of the most iconic stories in X-Men history, and which has been adapted obviously into a movie, one of the arguably the best X-Men movie of all time to date. And they probably should have left it at that, because then they kind of petered out after that point. It was a good solid, you know high note that the X-Men Fox movies could have ended on. But then also in the 90s X-Men TV show, they adapted that, which was done fairly well too. But I swear, maybe it's just Mandela effect. I swear it's like a whole event like Age of Apocalypse or House of M type of thing, where it was like a whole, at the bare minimum, 4 issues of Avengers dealing with the Days of Future Past storyline. But no, just 2 issues, and sandwiched in between it is all kind of like superfluous stuff that doesn't interweave into the narrative of this arc. Since this what it is an arc. This is written by Chris Claremont, which is like the like, I will say like the godfather of X-Men, but you make the argument with Stan Lee, but Chris Claremont is like, he was like the go-to guy when it comes to X-Men stories. But yeah, Days of Future Past. And it's amazing how like one-to-one in certain cases from the film and the TV show is to this comic. And anyway, and John Byrne was the artist, and I like the art fine. I love this whole pencil art thing that got going on. I usually dig that stuff. It's not one of my favorite kind of arts, but it works in the context of the story that is being woven into. So, and get this, we're off in the present day of 2013, the far future of the 2013, where the United States has pretty much been overrun by Sentinels, and they pretty much taken over. And there is a hierarchy system when it comes to the human population right now, where most of the mutant community has been either annihilated to darn near extinction or about to be extinct, to or they're in scattered or in concentration camps. It's not just in the US, it's like the Canada as well. The entire Canada and North America has been decimated and overrun by Sentinels, and is already on the precipice of a global nuclear war, because the other countries now, because the Sentinels, was pretty much, ironically, this was Skynet before Skynet was a thing, before Terminator was a thing. The Sentinels became self-aware, and they are operating on this broad programming of taking out mutants, period. and they want to go to these other countries where mutants are being held at as well. But the only thing that's keeping them from is like nuclear warheads the other countries have. But at some point they're going to bypass that, because as soon as like the Sentinels try to go over to those other countries, they will let off their nukes and just annihilate the entire North America region wholesale. So it's bad. And I'll go off the hierarchies in a minute in terms of the human population in the North America, but we'll begin with Kate Pryde, late 30s Kitty Pryde, who's like wearing this kind of like neck collar thing, inhibitor collar, to neutralize her powers. So she's carrying this package, and she gets cornered by these pocket human miscreants, these little gang members called the Rogues. Not the Rogue, just Rogues. And they try to because they know she's a mutant as clear as day, given like the wardrobe they have to wear. Like Bishop had that M on his face. Is essentially what a lot of them have now. And the inhibitor collars, obviously. And she's holding her own, but she eventually about to get overrun. But thanks to Wolverine showing up in time, because she was supposed to rendezvous with him in this location, because less likely Sentinel interference. Wolverine at this point, he has a bit of like starting now to show gray hairs, because Wolverine is like at current stage right now he's well over 200 years old, because he would have been born in the 1800s. So yeah, he's well over 200 years old. And he's supposed to bring over this gizmo that she's supposed to bring back to the camp, that is supposed to especially made to be hidden away from the Sentinel's sensors. So they have a plan going in order to stop what's going on. So here's where like the hierarchy I was mentioning. There's 3 classes of people that the Sentinels are pretty much like kind of like culling in a way, or like controlling the breeding system. H for baseline human, clean of mutant genes, allowed to breed. A for anomalous human, a normal person possessing mutant genetic potential, forbidden to breed. And then the M for a mutant, the bottom of the heap, made pariahs and outcasts by Mutant Control Act of 1988, hunted down and with a few rare exceptions killed without mercy. Definitely not allowed to breed, just to avoid any potential future mutants altogether. And if you're curious of what happened to all the superheroes, well, of course superheroes will fight back against this and help their fellow mutant brethren. A lot of them got murked pretty much, and they're mass graves in these camps. And of course Kitty's bringing back a package of they're sent on these little package runs by the Sentinels to do certain jobs and things like that. So you got grave markers with not just with X-Men members like Xavier, Scott, and Kurt, and Angel, But you got the Fantastic Four as well. Then you got Bobby Drake down here. I don't know if you can see my mouse or anything like that, but Bobby Drake. And here, yeah, peek here, you can see how it's spelled out here. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Don't know who's the last person here that starts from the X, but a lot of the superhero community that try to resist ultimately end up dying at the hands of these Sentinels. So, yeah, there's roaming pockets here and there, but it's all just pear shape of a future. So, now we got like you got Kitty Pryde, Storm, Colossus, Franklin Richards, a grown-up Franklin Richards, who's they retconned him in the past few years to not being a mutant, which I thought that was a huge freaking mistake. But you know, for the longest time, he's also been a mutant with reality-shaping powers, and he's in the camp as well, along with Magneto, who's ironically wheelchair bound from some kind of like fight that paralyzed him. So now they are, aside from also Wolverine. Oh, and there's also this other mutant, Rachel Summers. You know, like the daughter of the clone of Jean Grey and Scott Summers, who has telekinetic and telepathic powers. And they hooked up this. They've been planning to essentially they assembled this piece by piece, this machine where they caused this kind of mini disruption in the camp, and this also disable the inhibitor collars, which will cause a massive distraction to allow everybody else except for Magneto to escape, because since he's wheelchair bound, he has to be the one to stay behind to hold them off as long as he could before he will ultimately die. And of course, Rachel's trying to maintain connection with everybody, so she's feeling every time a member is going down, which is devastating. And then as they're trying to make their escape through these subway tunnels, meeting up with Wolverine, they are found, and Franklin, who is involved with Rachel, he gets annihilated quickly. Also, Colossus and Kitty Pryde are together, which they should have always be together, just like Gambit and Rogue. They should always be together, because you always remember these two are having like a thing with each other. Currently in the comics they don't, which is kind of sad, because they seem very good for each other. Anyway, as they're making their way out, they found like a hidden place where they really make their true move. But the first plan was getting out of the camp so they can have like the space to do what they need to do. Just like in the movie, with a few tweaks, because in the movie they have in the comic, Rachel is using her powers to mentally project Kitty's mind into the body of her past 13-year-old self, back in the 1980s. Now in the movie, you have Kitty doing that with Wolverine. And I think they handled it well with going that far back will terrible mind eventually, but with Wolverine's healing abilities, he constantly re-heals himself every moment. But here it's like they only chose Kitty because when she became a member of the X-Men, she haven't gone through the process of learning how to train her mind to protect through psychic probing or anything like that, like the other members would have gone through when she got on board. So she was chosen, and since like there's only a few X-Men left in the world, so she will be the only one that's primed to go. So she is sent back in order to warn and change things for the X-Men. And of course, at this point in time, she's a new kid on the block. She's a little uneasy with like Kurt because through one of those whole earlier issues sandwiched, together with this arc, she has a tough time. Even during the Dark Phoenix saga, when she first met Kurt, little by little, she's just like, she, understands she's they are teammates and everything like that. She can work with him and everything like that, but she's a little uneasy because that guy just has an appearance of a demon and is just a little like, fidgety a bit, which, Kurt is a little bothered because he's trying to be her friend, but he's also trying to be understanding that his appearance can put some people off. So he's trying to, make an easy transition for her to be comfortable around him. So after this training mission she had to go through, she starts, collapsing, and then she wakes up at, her older self is waking up in her younger self's body, and then she's just ecstatic and she sees Kurt, like, Kurt, you are great, and she immediately hugs him, which is like kind of shocks everybody because she was like so fidgety around him. But then kudos to this, because you rarely get this, not even just in comics but movies or TV. You rarely get this, but maybe it's because it's such a 2-issue thing, so they gotta get to the point. And she just immediately starts telling everybody, okay, everybody, stop what you're doing. We need to go to Washington, save Senator Kelly. We don't have time to BS around. It's like everybody's wondering, like, whoa, slow down. What the heck is going on? It's like, okay, but they thanks to Wolverine, because the fact that his senses, okay, something's a little off with her. So because the X-Men gone through a lot of BS. They went to space and all this other stuff. Went to the Savage Land. Like, they fought all kinds of superheroes of wide range of powers and against a bunch of, all kinds of weird villains. So he's like, okay, like, you're a time traveler. Let's go to Washington. And so I'm glad. It's like, okay, we can just get to the point. Buy what they're selling. Just like, somebody saying like, they see like, oh, Spider-Man robbed that bank. Well, he spent like the past decade, saving people. So I'm a little hard pressed to buy that, hard sell that he just all of a sudden became a murderer or all of a sudden became a thief. Let's give this, ear when he says like, oh, it wasn't me, it was a doppelganger. So yeah, let's buy that for a second, because we've seen some weird shit. But she's on this plane heading towards Washington because she explains a comforting future where the Sentinels have taken over, all because here and now on October 31st of 1981, I think it was, like, or whatever, Senator Kelly gets assassinated by some mysterious mutant. Don't know who it was, but we got to get there and save him. It's kind of akin to what they did with the storyline with Bishop in the 90s X-Men TV show, because he didn't know who was the assassin that took out Senator Kelly, but of course in the show we knew it was Mystique disguising as Gambit, trying to mislead a lot of people so she can do what she needs to do and make a good slip. So because of Senator Kelly, who isn't an outright bigot, but he's just concerned about certain mutants with powers, and they could like, just do whatever without any proper control over the situation. Uh, so his death was a catalyst to kick off people, certain government officials who want to springboard the Sentinel program, fast track it. Of course, other members of the government like kind of like, no, this is kind of effed up, but they went off anyway. They went through it anyway, turned them on, and because of the broad programming that was bestowed, the Sentinels couldn't really, well, they, through their logic, okay, that's why you got those hierarchies of humans. Okay, these humans have like an algorithm of, okay, they're human, they carry a mutant gene, they can't breed anymore. All mutants, they're either annihilated or put in camps so it can be annihilated in one fell swoop altogether. And and it's just like completely overrun, and they cannot be stopped, and those try to stop them, they get annihilated. So they also theorize, okay, everybody in the superhero community is a potential mutant, or we can't differentiate between whether or not they get their powers from mutant genes or other outside sources, so they annihilate it. Like Daredevil, the Fantastic Four, Hulk, She-Hulk, Doctor Doom, villains get knocked out. Black Panther, he gets taken out. Iron Man, I'm pretty sure he tried to stop him. He doesn't have mutant genes. He's a potential threat. He gets taken out. Oh, and by the way, back in the future, they made their central base the Fantastic Four Freedom Plaza locale, because all the Reed Richards technology is just like a treasure trove for them to utilize to really spread their influence all across America and Canada. So all the X-Men are listening to this story like, oh my god, this is so effed up. So they gotta save Kelly, and of course he's giving like a speech at the not like a UN but like a Senate hearing, and Professor Xavier is there as a world famous geneticist, along with Moira McTaggart, and of course they get caught up in the devastating cataclysm at this moment, so they get taken out early. So they gotta save them as well. And it turns out that it was Mystique, along with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, stupid branding name to this day, but they're the cause of the assassination because she's pretty much taking over Magneto's position. And of course you also got Destiny, who we know that she and Mystique are involved with each other, probably the one few close relationships she ever had in her entire life that she probably would actually have some legit feelings for. And of course it's technically Destiny who pulls the trigger, and Destiny is a mutant who can see the future, not all future, but just see focus on a particular thing. But she starts to pick up on the fact that something distorting my ability to see the future. There's some kind of anomaly that just popped up. Of course we know it's Kitty, but she doesn't know that. And I'm pretty sure if you ask like, oh, why she couldn't see the fact that what she doing will cause like a devastating towards the future, she probably only can see only so far, maybe. But I'm pretty sure it picked up during the original timeline. I'm pretty sure after a certain point she would have picked up on what's coming to pass. So the X-Men show up, and as soon as they do, immediately Xavier picked up on Kitty's brainwaves and immediately picked up on what the lowdown is. So the X-Men are fighting the Brotherhood, and you had a moment where Mystique transformed into Nightcrawler and they're fighting, but then you get that first inkling. Of course we had suspicions at the time, but we get the first inkling that Kurt, obviously given the fact the way he looks, is the son of Mystique. And I never got a chance to even bring it up because I didn't make a video about it. But, in the past, at least last month, there was like a whole thing on the internet, on social media, about Mystique be the one who's actually the father of Kurt and not the just like the mother part. That kind of sort of got retconned because people for the longest time believe like Azrael, the teleporting looking demon dude, was the father of Kurt, given the fact that his demon appearance along with the blue skin of Mystique makes sense. But Mystique can transform into anybody she wants, which logically you can make the argument that she can have all the ins and outs of man's biological nature, or I was saying the nature, but the biological unit needed to birth a person into being. So she and Destiny had intercourse, and I guess Destiny was the one who birthed Kurt. Maybe, I'm not sure. It's just like a weird retcon. I don't know why it was needed. I can't really make a complete pushback on it because Mystique can change her appearance, so it makes sense she can have a penis. So it's like, sure. It's like I can't really give pushback on that. I can also argue, I don't know why we need to make that change where everything was pretty satisfactory on that front. You barely even got like a moment with the fact that Azrael was a deadbeat dad and he was like a villain, but we never really have a moment to hash that out between him and Kurt or something. I'm not sure why you didn't go with that, but whatever. I just thought I'd lay it out since I bring it up here. Anyway, so while the X-Men are dealing with that stuff in the past, present day, Wolverine and Storm come up with a plan to where while Kitty's dealing with stuff there, they tell Rachel and to stay behind, look after Kitty while she's doing her own mission. While they, just in case something goes awry, they want to at least cripple the Sentinels to avoid any potential nuclear devastation on the US by keeping them from going outwards around the globe. So they go to Four Freedoms Plaza, Wolverine, Storm, and Colossus, to try to destroy all their like mechanical workings and instruments and everything like that, to severely hinder them for a good long while, to give them at least a chance. And so they slip in thanks to some tech that was given to Wolverine to bypass and access certain secret elevator of the Fantastic Four. And going back into the past, one by one they take out a couple of members of the Brotherhood, like Avalanche, Pyro, and the Blob. And Mystique makes slip eventually, which she always does. And this is where I'm talking about, like, Mystique gives like a hint, like, why don't you ask your mother? Clearly, like, she mentioned of the adopted mother about like his past, and Kurt, always wanted to know about what his biological roots are at the time. Knew she knew something, but she wasn't telling, and they didn't have the time to get really into it. So, and this is one of the most iconic images in comic book history, where they make the way to the top, and of course you do the iconic fastball special with Colossus and Wolverine try to sneak attack one of the Sentinels. But the Sentinel got like a more quick on the draw. Use his discount repulsor ray thing and completely blast Wolverine, completely destroy every bit of flesh off his metal skeleton. It's one of the most iconic images in comic book history. And this was way before, and you talk about retcons, this is way before it was brought to pass that Wolverine can regrow from a single cell type of situation. Where if you completely just murk the entire flesh right off the bones, then he can't grow back, he's essentially dead. But you can also, if it wasn't for the skeleton, when dealing with superheroes with healing factors like Wolverine or Deadpool or Sabretooth, you gotta cut off the head, separate from the brain from the body altogether, or just obliterate the brain altogether. That single mechanism that tells the body to heal itself, destroy all that, you destroy the the super healer. And that's pretty much how you deal with that. So Wolverine's taken out immediately. And of course we get in this whole dialogue with, or at least narration boxes about Storm and Colossus, who were on the X-Men, are like gentle souls of the X-Men who refused to like take a life, and always found like a peaceful solution to certain problems. Rarely they act out of anger, that kind of thing. But going through the hardships they went through and the losses they went through time and time again, even the fact that Colossus and Kitty had children, they were annihilated essentially. So it really hardened them to the point where they will kill without thought if this serves like a greater purpose kind of situation. So one of the Sentinels who came by after Storm stopped the Sentinel that killed Wolverine, it sent like a javelin type of thing. I don't know if it came out of his wrist arms, or just I assume it came out of his wrist arms, or just made from or pried from something else. Threw it at Storm while her back was turned, killed her immediately, and of course Colossus left alone, so he took it upon himself because they pretty much failed in this mission. It was just like a stall tech at best. They knew they wasn't going to make it out, as more than likely with both missions. But they had to take a chance on Kitty succeeding. So Rachel, while she's still connected, she feels every death. She has to at least keep in contact so everybody knows what's what in this group. So she feels Colossus' mind as his rage, as he's taking out as many as he can before he's eventually overrun, and she eventually her mind her connection with Colossus just shut off. He's dead. So she's the only one left, along with Kitty, while she's protecting the body, hoping that hoping of all hope that Kitty succeeds in her mission. Even though the last conversation between Colossus and Kitty before the mission started, the fact that what happened to our love, all that will cease to exist. The children that we had, they won't exist. We won't know them or anything like that. And they know that that's the risk they'll have to take, because this isn't the kind of life we should be living, and this isn't the world we want to have them in. It's like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But if not, whatever kind of future we'll have instead will be far better than what has come to pass right now. This is a horrible future. So they hoping like Rachel's hoping like, okay, hopefully Kitty will fix all this, so all these deaths, it won't matter because it will be fixed. So Kitty manages to stop Destiny from assassinating Robert Kelly. She pulled a move that her younger self would have never figured out because she hasn't taught herself how to do that yet. So she faced through Destiny's body, maneuvered the hand to just miss Kelly's just miss Kelly, so he survived. At that moment of stopping the assassination, while the X-Men's on their way, after they stop the brother, they make their way to try to find Kitty and the senator, because Kitty's only mission is to save Kelly. Forget everybody else fighting the Brotherhood. They ain't the primary concern. As soon as that moment has changed, older Kitty, starts kind of fluctuating out of existence. The time stream that she was previously on no longer exists. So things have changed. Now she gives one last, it was kind of weird. I don't know why it was put in. Even if it was the 80s, it's still weird that older Kitty inside the mind of young Kitty give her a kiss on the forehead before she disappears. And it's like, I don't know why you need to add that in. It's kind of weird to kiss yourself on the forehead, no matter the context of it. It's still weird. So as the whole potentially the future is saved and the X-Men get back home, and Professor Xavier kind of breaks down everything he sees in her mind. It's like, yeah, it seems like the future might have been the horrible future might have been diverted, given the fact that Yoda stuff is no longer inside your mind, and everything seems to be seems normal now. But then classic Robert Kelly, he goes to Washington, he befriends Sebastian Shaw, who he doesn't know is a mutant, and goes similarly to the president, speaking with Henry Peter Gyrick about continuing on with the Sentinel program, despite the fact that Storm is telling Kelly after Kitty just saved his freaking life. It's like there are good mutants and bad mutants, just like there's good humans and bad humans. So don't condemn the entire race for the acts of a few. But he didn't learn that freaking lesson, because the only thing he got from it, well, I wouldn't be in the predicament if it wasn't for mutants, period. So now they're assigning Henry Peter Gyrick to set up this Operation Zero Tolerance kind of situation, which is like a big thing during the 90s. Operation Zero Tolerance kind of situation. But it gives like a different timeline now. But it was like, man, like, but it was like a good arc. It wasn't like a complete, like adventure kind of thing, but it's sort of sweet to the point. I gotta give it that. But one of the most, I don't know, like I said, it's a Mandela effect. We always grew up thinking like, oh, Days of Future Past is this big world-shaping event that X-Men had been on, but it was only 2 issues. I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know why we always thought that. Maybe it's because the TV show and then later the movie always make it seem like it's like a bigger than what it actually was. Man, it wasn't like a letdown, but I was thinking like, man, I expected like 4 issues bare minimum. But anyway, this is still one of the greatest stories. This is a great story, honestly, with heavy stakes. But I thought I would go, briefly come in, talk about it really quick, and then the next X-Men event that I will be covering will be Age of Apocalypse. I just started reading that because I haven't read that start to finish as a kid, because certain issues only coming out at certain points in time, and I was a little kid, so I couldn't collect every little thing. Now I can read this in its full completion. So look forward to that. Like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Let me know what you guys think of the Days of Future Past story. And I will see you guys tomorrow for more Diablo 4. Hopefully the internet won't be causing any issues, because I guess because the weather in Chicago right now is messing up the Wi-Fi internet signal. So hopefully that won't be the case anymore. But I will see you guys for more Diablo 4, and then later on in the week, a couple of new movies to review. Yeah, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great week.